Okay, I'm going to level with you guys for a second here. A lot of the time when I pick a topic to talk about on this show, I'm picking a topic that I think will get views over a topic that I actually want to talk about. A lot of YouTubers do this. It's an unfortunate part of the game. More views means more exposure, which means more opportunities for the channel. And it's always a crapshoot. One week I think I'm doing something that'll perform well only for it to tank, and then the next week I'm doing something that I think will tank and it will perform well. Today's topic is one that I don't really know how the audience is going to react to. I don't know if it's going to get enough views or not. But honestly, I do not care because the Image Comics Ninja Turtles are coming back and I need to talk to somebody about this. We all know who the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are. We all know their names, their colors, their catchphrases, maybe even a supporting cast member here or there. But for the most part, the majority of us only really know one version of this team. This version, the 1987 animated version from Fred Wulff Productions. These turtles are the fun-loving, goofy, pizza-eating teenagers that pretty much everybody and their mother knows. It's what all the t-shirts in Hot Topic feature. Really, only a few of us know the original version of the team, the version that debuted in 1984's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. This comic wasn't the fun-loving romp that the animated series was. It was in black and white, it was dark, gritty, violent, and a lot less jokey than what we'd come to expect from the team. All the turtles wear matching red bandanas, and hell, Shredder dies in issue #1. He comes back a few issues later, but I mean, their biggest enemy dead in the first issue. Think about that. The original series lasted for 62 issues, ending in 1993 with the acclaimed City at War story arc. It was followed later that year by Volume 2, written and illustrated by Jim Lawson, a longtime collaborator of Eastman and Laird. This series was in full color and continued on directly from the end of Volume 1. Unfortunately, it wasn't very popular. Turtle Mania was starting to wane at this point, and it ended in 1995 after only 13 issues. Mirage Studios, the publisher behind the original TMNT comics, wouldn't try again until 2001 with Volume 4. This series was once again written by co-creator Peter Laird, and he brought back Jim Lawson to do the artwork primarily. This series took place 15 years after the end of Volume 2, placing the Turtles somewhere in their early to mid-30s, and shaking up their status quo, the likes of which we had never seen before. The series ended unfinished in 2014 after 31 issues. This was around the time when Nickelodeon bought the franchise. They allowed Peter Laird to continue on and finish this volume, but he never did. Now, you may have noticed before that I didn't mention a Volume 3. There was about 6 years between the end of Volume 2 and the start of Volume 4, so there had to have been something in that gap. Well, there was. Just wasn't from Mirage. 1 year after the end of Volume 2, Savage Dragon creator Eric Larson helped bring back the Ninja Turtles, but this time for Image Comics. This series was and still is officially recognized as Volume 3, and it was written by Gary Carlson with art by Frank Fosco. And even though it's officially recognized as Volume 3, it's all but been lost to time. After the series concluded, Peter Laird began working on Volume 4 and didn't want to acknowledge anything that happened in Volume 3. He didn't want to acknowledge any work that he wasn't directly involved in. Also, because this was published by Image Comics, they still maintained some sort of ownership over the series. So even when Mirage got the rights back and eventually transferred it over to Nickelodeon, Image was still in control of some portion of it. This caused the series to be left in some sort of limbo, preventing it from ever getting reprinted or collected. This is a very hard series to come across. Seriously, I tried even using Pirate Bay to get some images to show on screen, and that was a dead end. And honestly, this is all a shame because Volume 3 by Image Comics is some of the most batshit insane storytelling ever done to the foursome. This is the Turtles as 90s extreme as they could have possibly gotten. Issue 1 opens with Donatello getting blown up. From there, it just continues to nosedive into insanity. Donnie becomes a cyborg, Leonardo loses an eye, Raphael becomes the new Shredder, and if you think I just spoiled everything for you, don't worry, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The series ended after 23 issues, unfinished and never reprinted or collected. There was a fan-made version of issue 24 and 25, but that was unofficial. Carlson and Fosco didn't have anything to do with it. But last week, IDW, the current publisher of Ninja Turtles comics in the United States, announced that they acquired all the rights to the Image series and is going to be reprinting them all for the first time under the subtitle Urban Legends. The series will now be in full color, and Carlson and Fosco are coming back for 3 issues to finish the series as they originally envisioned it. Licensed comics are awesome. I did a video about it last year, but the problem with licensed comics is that when the license expires, a lot of times these comics can just disappear. They just get lost in some legal purgatory. I don't think the Marvel run of Rom's Space Knight comics has ever been reprinted, and that's widely considered to be one of the best sci-fi comics of all time. Nowadays, publishers are pretty good at making sure that licensed books from other companies get reprinted or stay in print. IDW is especially really good about this. They've reprinted Marvel's G.I. Joe and Transformers work, and hell, they've put out both volumes of Mirage's TMNT and even the old Archie run based on the animated series. And with the Image Comics run, we finally get The Missing Link, a chance for fans who've probably never heard of this series before to experience one of the crazier moments in the Turtles' history. If this goes well, maybe they can get Volume 4 up and running again and bring Peter Laird back to finish it. Now, I am gushing over this series, but I should warn you, it's not exactly good. A friend of mine actually has a couple of issues of the Image series, and he let me read them a few years back, and what I read just, I mean, it's very early 90s, guys. There's a lot of 90s Image Comics tropes in this book, and not the good ones. It's excessively violent, it's very grim, darker than even the original Mirage series, and the artwork is typical 90s Image artwork. Everything is overdrawn, and all of the men look like this. But all that said, I'm still really excited that this is coming back. I'm a firm believer in the idea that media should be readily available for the people to access, even if it is at a price. And something like this is a prime example. It's a lost piece of history of one of the greatest franchises of the 20th century. It deserves to be seen. And not only is it coming back, but it's getting finished. It's going to be completed finally. Rarely do comics like this get a second chance, and who better to get a second chance than the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? And also, the next mutation is on Netflix. You're gonna tell me that that is worthy of preservation, but the comic book isn't?
You know, I work out every day.
But what do you guys think about the Image Comics Ninja Turtles coming back? Are you excited for it? Have you never heard of this series? And did I pique your interest? Let me know down below or anywhere on the internet. We have new videos every Tuesday and Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern is Wulff Live, the live YouTube extravaganza where you can come, watch us, and chat with us at the same time. Technology is great. And my brother Bob does live streams every so often. I don't know what his schedule is, so subscribe to make sure you catch all of that, like this video, and share it with a friend who is a big Ninja Turtles fan but didn't know about this one piece of history. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time.